Hi everybody, I'm back to do a video which has been requested by many of the people that are doing posts and questions, which is what's maintenance like? Of course, this is the perennial question for anyone who's looking to buy a Porsche, because as we know, Porsche parts can be expensive, and the rates that the Porsche shops charge to repair our cars are dear, so that's sort of a pressing concern for a lot of people. So what I've done is I've looked at the maintenance history for my car, and I'll just sort of go through that with you and give you a sense of what it would have been like had you owned this car since the warranty expired. Now, I only have the maintenance records since 2006, and so it's a 2001 car, so I'm going on the sort of rough assumption that most of the repairs that were required in the first 5 years would have been picked up under warranty, and I don't know what if any repairs were done under warranty in the first 5 years. So here's what was done before I owned it, and here's what I've done since I had it, and how much it costs. The thing to note here is that, of course, whether you're able to do work yourself is going to be a big driver in terms of determining how much you're going to spend on maintaining your car. If you can tinker on cars and you're comfortable with doing basic things yourself, of course you're going to save yourself some money. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So here are the things that have been done to the car since 2006. Their window regulator was changed. That was $563. This is before I got the car, keep in mind. The air mass meter was changed in 2013, and that was $644. There was a low-speed fan resistor, so for one of the heater controls, I think, in the car, and with labor that was $310. The granddaddy of repairs for this car was the IMS. So the previous owner changed the IMS, which you do while you're changing the clutch. So that repair was clutch, new flywheel, IMS bearing, water pump, expansion tank, and crank seal. You may not need to change the flywheel when you do the clutch. I guess it depends on what kind of shape it's in. But that's a $1,000 part. So that repair with all that stuff with the IMS was $5,500, and that was $3,500 of parts at shop rates. So if you have a car that has had the clutch IMS done, then the bulk of that cost, of course, you won't face. When I got the car, I did the driver's seat heat element was out, so I had Porsche do it. It was $567, and there's some things I've done, little things that I've done myself. So I replaced the trunk lid strut, the strut that keeps the trunk lid open when you open it, and that was $53. It takes literally 15 seconds to change yourself. The brake light switch I changed. It's a $30 part, just something you do yourself. It's annoying. It's underneath. You have to kind of stand on your head underneath the dash to fit it in, but it's not too tough. And again, that was $30 part. The ignition switch. It's a part that's actually shared with Audi, I think, and you can do it yourself, and I did this myself. It was a $41 part, and it actually couples with the ignition cylinder in the back underneath the dash. It's a pain in the butt to do, but entirely doable yourself. So it was something that didn't prevent the car from running, but which when you turn the key all the way, and you'd have to kind of click it back a little bit so that all of the electrics were working properly. So it was kind of a minor annoyance, but I just wanted to change it so that I didn't have to deal with it. So anyways, I fixed that. For people that don't have a ton of experience fixing cars, but are okay giving it a go, what I can say is there's a lot of resources on the internet. Other owners on forums often post detailed sort of repair sheets with photographs. Pelican Parts is a great website which details a lot of different repairs and gives you step-by-steps with diagrams and arrows and photographs and so on. And I can tell you that those resources are a huge help to me, and probably without them, I would be taking my car to the shop to get the minor things done. So, all right. So if you look at the 2006 to date, so the last 9 years, those repairs, including the granddaddy repair with the clutch and the IMS and so on, averages $877 a year. Now, people say, well, someone asked me in a post, I heard it costs $500 to do an oil change for a Porsche. No, it doesn't. If you don't do it yourself, probably $250 is what you're looking at. The oil, which is around 8 liters of synthetic 0W40 Mobil 1, I think is the spec oil, and that costs about $100 in my neck of the woods. Keep in mind I'm Canada, so in the U.S. That price may be lower. When you do change the oil, you're going to get a oil filter kit, which will have a crush washer, which goes underneath the bolt that goes into the oil pan, which is actually part of the block on the bottom, and it will have the new rubber seal that goes around the oil filter housing with it, and that's between $20 and $40, depending on whether you get from Porsche or aftermarket. So if you do that yourself, which is not too tough, then you're looking at sort of, let's call it $130 to $150. The other service items, which are cabinet filters, transmission flush, air filter, if you want to do a full service at a shop, you're probably looking around $600 to get all of those, all the filters, air filter, cabinet filter, oil filter, transmission flush, about $600. If you do it yourself, then about half that probably. So that's that. So that's the other thing I've done is I pulled the starter, and my car's not on the road right now. I take it off the road for the winter, and so I pulled the starter and took it to a local electrical rebuild shop that does starters and alternators. They got some new brushes ordered. They had to come from Germany, and it was $100 to rebuild the starter. The starter was working, but it was making kind of a squealing sound intermittently, which was happening because the Bendix gear, which as you may know is the little gear that shoots out from the starter and engages the flywheel and turns it, was sticking. It's supposed to retract once the car starts, and it was sticking a little bit, so it was getting over-revved and making kind of a squealing noise. So if you have that, I know there's one video on the internet actually, which has it's about a 10-second video, makes that noise. That's what that is. So I am this weekend going to put my starter back in, and I anticipate that with the new brushes won't affect that, but basically what the guy said was the Bendix gear was just sticking because it had crud around it, and he just cleaned it up and lubricated it, and so probably won't make the noise anymore. So it should be good for another, let's say, 50,000 miles or something. So assuming that, I think it's safe to assume that you're going to run into some bigger repairs as the car wears. I haven't had to do brakes yet, so I'm not sure what those cost. But let's say that you have to do some front end work, something with the front suspension, or the new shocks and springs, cooling system problem. Bump your average annual cost with maintenance too. I would say $1,000 to $1,200 a year conservatively. I've spent less than that, but I've only had the car for 2 years, so I anticipate at some point I'm going to have to shell out for something that's going to go wrong. And it may not be the fault of the car. It may just be an issue of simple wear. So anyway, that's as much as I know about servicing the cars. I'm not sure how my car is going to fit into the general car, whether it's a good example. But so far, I would say it runs really well. It starts, it runs perfectly, and there's been no major issues. A couple of small things that I've just sort of picked away at myself, which I don't mind doing. So no big issue for me. But certainly, the car hasn't left me anywhere or threatened not to work. Or reheated or anything like that. So anyway, post your questions below if you have them. I'm happy to try and get you answers if you need them. And good luck and happy driving. Cheers.